Hello and welcome to the Tuesday Night Music Show. We have Howie, our producer. We have Matt from Georgia. We have Eric with us. And we also have DJ Event Planner with us, one of our sponsors. You can't see them, but they're here. Check them out in the description of this video. There are links on YouTube. And we have one that you can see here. We have Mr. Boston John. And he's got a record roundup for us, as always. What do you got this week, John?
Yes, we do. Well, rather than bringing the stack of 45s, I actually had to resort to cassette. Because I don't know, if you weight a 12-inch single on the cassette, it's about the same weight, but these take up less space. So, there was a point in time a lot of us were bringing these out and around. My record for the week, what I have, and I'm going to get it out of the reflective plastic so that you can actually read it. I brought the greatest hits of Mr. Luther Vandross. Yeah. Because, and I know this is the second one, but this is one I bought in 1989 because I was transitioning from vinyl to cassettes for ease of bringing stuff around. Now, we knew of him from Change. It was Change featuring Luther Vandross, and he had the big single with them. Anybody? Have to pull it up again. I play it all the time now. It just escaped my mind. No, that's Luther's solo. No, it was what the hell was it called? I was looking. It'll come to me in a second.
When Eric said it.
Yeah. So anyway,
am I thinking right? It's maybe I'm wrong. Was that those people who did like Lover's Holiday?
Holiday. That's the one. That's the big song from
that was Luther
Change
Vandross?
Featuring Luther Vandross. Yeah.
I had no idea that was Luther Vandross.
Good guess.
Wow.
That's the one song. I had that on the other screen, but then I pulled up his list of hits, and I needed almost 2 pages to see that he has sung along with some of the greats like Miles Davis and David Bowie and Janet Jackson, and he was like the studio call guy when we need background vocals. I got it. I got to ask.
Philly based, right?
Let's see. Apollo Theater. That's
New York.
Okay, so he's up here, East Coast then.
Yeah.
Harlem Cultural Festival, it says. He's even been on Sesame Street. He sang with Bette Midler, Shaka Khan, Benny King, Stevie Wonder, Donna Summer. He was everywhere. I needed this because I needed Here and Now, and I had it on a 45, and I didn't trust a 45 to play right during a wedding, so I got the
Here
tape.
and Now was
not going to skip.
One of the wedding staples for a long time.
Staple, absolutely. If I just told you like Searching was on here, that was probably his first solo single that actually went anywhere. But Never Too Much. Like, oh, come on. He just goes on and on. Like all of this is just killer. Till My Baby Comes Home is on here, and Gotta Stop the Love.
Nice.
Yeah, that's on here.
Nice.
And I just like, just so many great hits. Just not quite as bassy as Barry White, but he was definitely like an R&B staple. Grown folks R&B. We've talked about shows before, but definitely give Luther's Best a shot because there's lots of great stuff. I mean, he can do ballads pretty smooth, but he's even got kind of that R&B flavor. So I picked Luther for the week, and that's
a good pick.
So if I don't know if there's any other ones. But Here and Now is where I had to get it because I had to have it.
And John, if you have any problems playing that, I have a repair tool you can borrow, right?
Oh, the pencil? Yeah, it's got to be in like the number 2 Everhead Farber, right, with the 6-way stop sign cut, or else you can't spin back up. Like, well, the odds of a tape getting eaten are less than having a 45 skip. It's like I'm going with the tape on this, and I make sure it plays. That's my pick for the week. So
I know that he was on David Bowie's Young Americans. He was one of the background singers on that.
Yeah.
Along with, there were all kinds of people on that album. Like John Lennon was the background singer on Young Americans. And then David Sanborn played on Young Americans. A lot of people played on Young Americans before they did anything.
But, I do believe Luther did a handful of remakes too, right? Didn't he? He redid a few that I'm not confusing him with Michael Bolton because
I think you're confusing him with George Benson.
Yes.
Oh, that could be, but I think Luther did Always and Forever. Didn't he do that?
Heat Wave.
I think he did.
Yeah.
No, I think
did he do his own
it.
copy. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he made a few. That not a lot.
He did like a very like
Soulful,
deep,
but
soul version of that. I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
But Here and Now is always my. Somebody mentions Luther, you think Here and Now. That's me.
That was a mom rock classic.
Hell yeah.
Well, they were the big guns back then. It was Barry White and Teddy P, and Luther was very much a part of that. And I think he even had higher chart success than the other two.
He did. He had more mainstream success, I think, than any of them did.
Yeah.
Good pick.
Nice.
Who would like to go next?
I'll go next.
All right.
I know you're going to be surprised by this, but I'm going to the 70s again.
Wow.
Ooh.
But I haven't always gone to the 70s. But this one here, I had been doing deep dives into some history and stuff of the punk scene. And they said there were only two clubs, and it was Max's Kansas City and CBGB's. And the one I picked was Johnny Thunders and the Heartbreakers.
Huh.
And they did this album live, and it has Get Off the Phone, Do You Love Me, One Track Mind, All By Myself, I Want to Be Loved, Milk Me, London, and Take a Chance. That was their set list for that. And that came out in 1978. And trivia time, he was the very first frontman for the New York Dolls for 4 years. And he left them to go to the Heartbreakers. And then David Johansen came in and became the frontman for the New York Dolls. And sadly, in 1991, Johnny Thunders died from a drug overdose. And the only original members left of any of those groups is David Johansen.
Saw a picture of him the other day.
Yeah. And then what he did, after he went out on his own, he changed his name, became Buster Poindexter, and he was, 50s and 60s ballads, a la.
He made it hot for a while. That
was acting, kind of.
Right, it was a character, for sure.
Well, I mean, he was actually acting, too. He was in...
Yes.
Oh, Scrooge,
yeah, with Bill Murray. He was the cab driver, right? Yeah.
Yes, and he was also in what the hell is the name of that movie with Mick Jagger and Emilio Estevez? Free Jack. He was in Free Jack. He was supposed to be Emilio Estevez's partner or something from back in the past, and then he ran into him in the future or something. I don't know, business manager or something. But yeah, kind of a slimy, guy is what he played for his character acting, which is kind of the Buster Poindexter character he was doing, I think.
Yeah.
So these Heartbreakers are a stupid question, not the same ones that were
not Tom Petty's people. No,
I'm just curious. Hey, you never know. Yeah,
No,
Definitely not.
I thought that first myself, and I was like, oh, I better research this. And I was like, oh no, this very different players.
Yeah. Okay. I was just curious. Yeah.
Pat Benatar and the Heartbreakers completely.
right. She could have went that way too. She could have named her band. I mean, she had
Petty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice.
Tom Petty.
Too.
Yeah.
Led Zeppelin and the Heartbreakers. Well, anyone who wrote a song about heart being broken, I guess you have it.
There you go.
We'll let Matt go next because you guys are going to hate my turn.
Oh, all right. We're like leading up to the hate. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to also surprise Brian, and I'm going to go with something from the 90s in the alternative realm here. And This is and I'm going to show it on my phone.
Wow.
This is from the Cranberries. It's called Everybody Else Is Doing It, So Why Can't We? Always really enjoyed the sound of the Cranberries, and the two hits on this song or on this album, and possibly more than that, but that I think are really good for weddings and cocktail hours, things like that, are Dreams and also Linger, which got a little resurgence in the movie Click with Adam Sandler that came out, I want to say around 2005. So just very, very well done, really good vocals. And, I think they could easily had performed in ballrooms as much as they could, on a stage at a rock concert.
Especially Linger. I've played that, for cocktail or dinner. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Love the band. Dolores is such a tortured soul. I mean, like and Zombie, obviously, you didn't mention. I don't know if that's just, sad set of circumstances for
a yodeling person.
Really?
Yes, yeah. But breaking a yodel occasion. Lincoln's a pretty song.
Yodeling.
Shoot, that's what I don't think.
Yeah, it does kind of do that a little bit. Yeah.
I remember
Irish angst.
I think it was in 92. Must have been 92 that album came out. And
and it's got a date of 93 on that one, but I don't know if that's
93,
the original or a
well, it might have been 93. I can't remember.
Right.
When I was DJing at the club, I had this brilliant idea to go work at a used CD store so I could buy all the CDs I wanted wholesale from people who would come in to sell them. So I did that for a while. And I remember there was this young Filipino guy that we worked with, kind of chubby. The first time I ever met him, he came in the door swearing. He was so mad because he had reserved the Cranberries CD, and he was going on and on about the blank Cranberries CD. I want my blank Cranberries CD. And I'd never heard of the band before, but just to hear this guy swearing about cranberries was funny to me. I just thought that was
you can say in a record store and at Thanksgiving. Where are my
angry guy
cranberries?
Trying to sound really hard about a cranberries CD.
Right.
So that was my introduction to them. Then I had to hear this.
You mean they had sold the CD?
Well, the way they would do it is, if there was something you really wanted, you would, on this little note board, you would say, hey, I want this. If it comes in the store, save it for me. And, it had came in, they had just put it out to sell and someone bought it. They didn't save it for him. So he was disgruntled about the Cranberries CD, which I'd never heard of Cranberries. And it had just come out that week or whatever. And so that was probably 93.
Yeah.
One moment. Sorry. Eric, what do you got?
All right, here we go. This man had his first hit, sold 1 million copies in 1949. And it was the first actual rock and roll song to sell at that level.
Well, probably one of the first rock and roll songs ever if it was 49.
Yeah.
Then he went on in his career and sold more than 60 million records. He hit Billboard's pop chart 63 times and the R&B chart 59 times. This man was known as Elvis Presley considered him to be the king of rock and roll. And what he referring to?
Chuck Berry.
No, that's what
Little Richard.
49?
Yeah.
God, I don't know. Somebody who was that relevant. The only thing I can think of is Sinatra.
No. This man's name is Fats Domino.
Oh, that guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying I'm referring to the greatest hits album, and this album was not released until 2022. The one that I'm looking at. I'm sure he had others. And he had, the hits on there like I'm Walking, Ain't That a Shame, which Cheap Trick redid.
Yeah, Blueberry Hill, The Sound.
But when I looked this man up, I'm like, how could he have all those Billboard charts and all three, I only know three of them. I'm Walking, Ain't That a Shame? Well, Blue Monday, I know a little bit, and only because people sing that in karaoke. I don't know why. And Blueberry Hill.
Blueberry Hill.
You need to rewatch Happy Days. They played the hell out of that.
Well, it's
I'm walking, yes, dude. I'm walking. Every time they turn on Happy Days, there's another Fats Domino song.
Well, it's all they had to work with in the 70s. Like, what's good? What can we get licensing for? Yeah.
But if you look at this guy's statistics, he was huge to sell that many records, and to be on the chart 63 times and the R&B 59 times.
Yeah.
I don't know how he did it.
Well, I was just thinking about, people who tried to mimic somebody who tried to mimic his thing, because he was pretty influential, would be Chubby Checker, something fat and a playing piece of a game. So, play on Fats Domino, Chubby Checker, Fats Domino. And I remember I was talking to Jay a while back. I don't know if you guys were in the room or not. I don't think we were recording this, but we were talking about influencing songs or ripping things off or ripping riffs off and things.
Yeah.
And I was mentioning a few songs that were iconic, yet they were still influenced by something else, and he didn't know about it. And the one that I mentioned was, and I could hear it plain as day, would be Hold the Line by Toto. To me, that's Blueberry Hill. They've reworked it. Think about the intro to that song. It's the boogie woogie piano thing that Fats Domino made famous. And the other odd one that is actually also influenced by Fats Domino, believe it or not, is In Excess Never Tear Us Apart. The strings, that dun 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 dun, that was done on piano first. It was in the style of Fats Domino, and then they just changed it to a synth patch with strings and had that orchestral sound with it. So all influenced by him. He was a pretty influential guy in that regard.
It's interesting. I like that.
I didn't think anybody would know him except Howie. He was probably a teenager.
I played him.
I don't know who he is. I've never played him as a DJ, I don't believe, but I know who he is.
I did 30 years ago. I played the hell out of it.
I ever did.
Yeah.
The closest
I'll still play at a wedding if the crowd is right. I get the older people in there, and they love it. They eat that up, Blueberry Hill. But anyway,
I didn't even know that song. But thank you for the ageism comment.
I'll stop it. I'm not like I'm the first one that's ever done that.
I have no show and tell this week, but there is a song that's been an earworm for the past probably 2 weeks now. I was having a text-a-thon with Nick Hahn, and we were working on a project together, and in the meantime, we were just kind of screwing with each other. So I would throw him tracks that would send him down rabbit holes, stuff he'd never heard before, and he was throwing tracks at me to send me down rabbit holes of things I'd never heard before. And he got me once really good, and this song just has been playing in loop in my head since he sent it to me.
Free rental space. Yeah.
It lives for free in my head. Just, yeah. And it's by I think we were discussing it one night off air, John. It's from an Australian act called Flash and the Pan. And
do you hear it when it's raining?
What's that?
Do you hear it when it's raining? You might be out walking.
It's
walking.
Not that song. It's not
the rain. No, it's the other one.
Well, in fact, I'll tell you that I went through the rest of their catalog to try to find something that I liked, and I couldn't. This is the only song that sticks with me. Like, I think if I were to be the critic on this, of their discography and all their songs and their singles they had, this is the best one. And I think if it had gotten released in the US, like something like Madness's Our House did, it would have been a hit. Madness, of course, has a huge, vast ska catalog, that goes way beyond Our House, before and after that song.
Right, we got two songs over here. That's it.
Yeah, Well, sort of. House of Fun was like
they got 80 records on. I'm like, do they?
I think Flash in the Pan would have gotten the same thing with a track called "Waiting for a Train" from 19.
Oh yeah, we did talk about that one.
That track, if you don't know it, it is an earworm. Oh my gosh!
Yeah, right. And the 6 degrees of separation, it connects to AC/DC because it's Australian and they're family members. So the young in the band it's all them.
There's some AC/DC connection with that, but if I were to describe the song to you, the best way I don't know if it's the best way. It's almost like early electronic music, and I mean early like Hot Butter Popcorn early, meets Bob Dylan. It's the strangest thing in the world.
Yeah, it's gonna go like beat poetry, same thing, like spoken word over like some strange beat.
But it's the cadence he does it in, and how he sounds like later Bob Dylan. When you went to this kind of stuff is what it all sounds like. When you listen to the song, that's how he delivers the vocals. It's like that, and it sounds really dumb, but it's actually kind of cool. I'm recommending it because it's that good where it's living rent free in my head. I'm thinking if you're a music person and you have never heard this track, try it. Flash and the Pan, Waiting for a Train. It's an interesting track. That's all.
Very cool pick. Yeah. Now all of a sudden YouTube lights up with Flash and the Pan. What's going on? All of a sudden, why is everyone looking for this song?
I've played it the last 2 weeks at Safe House.
Have you?
Yes. Just in a warm-up set. Well, actually, I played in the warm-up set the first night. And the last time I played it, it was very late in the night. We were getting ready to close down. I just had to hear it. So I threw it on because I could. But yeah, it's just a damn earworm.
And now I have a feeling we're going to hear this after the show.
I think after hours, after class, if you all stick around, we might get to hear that.
If you want. It's Bob Dylan meets Kraftwerk or something. It's just goofy.
Well, Flash in the Pan in Boston style, there was a station, WBCN, which was the Boston Concert Network that lived and reigned for about 25 years. They would always, if it was a rainy day and that was the weather, we would always hear Walking in the Rain. They'd always play that. And that was just kind of like a weather tie-in, but like, who the hell is this band? You know, it's like, right. You know, there was no Google. There was no everyone's calling up the station. Like, who is this? You know, right. It's like, it's Elvis Costello or something strange. It's just like a way out there group. And again, the connection and the tie-in to Australia and the Young Brothers, who also ended up becoming Easy Beats, some of them, George and I forget the other older brother. But that's all an Australian connection. And, and
there were like 5 people living in Australia at the time. So they were all related.
And they weren't all like incarcerated. It's because that was penal colony.
You had Mad Max and those guys. So
and Inaccessible.
Living in John's probably related to them all. The band started in 76, I think, and then I don't know. They went another. They were like 10 years. They did their thing, and very successful down there, of course, and a few international hits here and there. I don't think they ever even kind of sort of charted in the U.S., but it's interesting. So I don't know. And you may listen to the rest of the stuff and say, wow, this is really good. My ear couldn't hear good. I wasn't, I'm sure if you lived in Australia and all you got was Australian music, you got what you got. So some of the songs did well because they weren't getting some of the other stuff. But this particular song, I think, had a chance. I believe it could have been something that it would have probably been an MTV hit, one of those things. Like if they'd have gotten a hold of the video and played it a lot, it probably would have caught on. Like a lot of the other, invasion songs, they could talk about the British invasion. It would have maybe caught on in that regard. I don't know. It's interesting.
In the day, if you hit VH1, you caught on, basically. Because it had so many viewers back then, and eventually they catch on, I think anything on that channel, but that's my opinion.
VH1?
Yeah.
I don't remember what year that was released, but that was Richard Blade's answer to you know, music for, well, it was supposed to be more about new wave than it was older music, but it became older music. It became something different than what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, they always
kind of started that.
Yeah, MTV wanted to be punk and cutting edge, and that was the whole putting the flag on the moon and music television and cool video jocks and like all this, and it was heavily dominated by what was happening music culturally, Ryan. Like you said, it was the new wave stuff was hitting hard. Like all those Euro bands were just relentless putting videos out. That's where we got for the first, year or two.
Well, for a minute, it was just like, what we need material. So they play what they had.
Right.
And they talk about, everybody wants to talk about Video Killed the Radio Star.
Right.
Yeah.
The second song ever played on MTV was Pat Benatar, You Better Run.
Yep.
Because there was a video for it.
Right. And there's bands who are not producing videos like, well, we have some concert footage. Like, great, package that up, make it a video, send it to us.
Right.
We'll run that.
Right.
That's in the loop. You'll be on every 100th video, day and night and day forever.
I remember,
on the, whoever was the, label owner, they would put up the money for these top-notch, directors that had done films. And they would make these strange videos to back the song. The labels at the time put money behind their stars.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see that these days.
They were usually pretty low budget. But, that's an interesting topic to kick off the show with, maybe topic one tonight.
All right.
I'm thinking about early music video. Who was doing music video? Like, I suppose we could all argue that Elvis Presley did music video.
Yes.
And Beatles did music
coincidentally
video.
just because it was in film and it was shot as part of a theatrical release, so they could take that section and call it a music video because he performed it in full in the movie. So this footage, you're basically getting a free music video
or an Ed Sullivan performance.
Right.
Well, like Beatles when they showed up, that was.
I'm thinking Jailhouse Rock was a bit theatrical with the looked like cell blocks all behind.
Oh yeah, all the doors and everything. Yeah.
I don't. Was that from a movie? I don't know. I never watched an Elvis.
Jailhouse Rock. Yeah, that was.
Was that
Elvis.
okay? It was a scene from Jailhouse Rock. Well, there you go.
I remember seeing Van Halen doing Jump on, on MTV.
Well, that was 84. I mean, that was already happening. I'm talking about the early stuff, like before MTV. Who was doing music video? You know who always had a video for their stuff?
I don't know.
The Rolling Stones always had a video.
Oh, even
like in the 70s.
Yeah.
Even before, like when Tattoo You hit, I remember there being a video for Start Me Up, and that was even
Waiting on a Friend had a video.
Yeah.
Waiting on a Friend did.
But even like Shattered had a video. Stuff like the earlier stuff had videos.
Yeah, I do. I think Emotional Rescue had one.
Yes.
Well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now you're going back in the 70s, and so
that's what I'm saying.
That was early 80s. Yeah, I think Emotional Rescue will Stop Me Up, right?
Start Me Up. Well, that was 81.
Tattoo You was 81. Yeah.
It depends on the label. If they're going to throw a million or 2 million at the Rolling Stones to promote it on MTV, they will do it because they know they'll have a hit.
Well, right. But, that's what I was kind of saying with like the Pat Benatar thing existed.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't make a video for MTV. There was just a video made for who knows what. And it was used, as did the Buggles. I remember pre-MTV, there was a half-hour show on HBO, which came on at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon and went off at 2 in the morning. When we first got cable. It was called Video Jukebox.
Oh, I remember.
And they would have a half hour every month of music videos. And the first video I ever remember seeing on that was the Go-Go's Our Lips Are Sealed.
Really?
I'd never heard of the Go-Go's.
Oh, yeah.
And or this band or anything else. But it was neat, this was a format that was interesting, The other one that I remember, just off the top of my head, I'm thinking about this. I didn't plan on doing this for a show topic, but I'm just thinking about American Bandstand debuted a
Wow.
What, they didn't even call it a music video. What they call it? They called it a music film.
Okay.
Film.
Sure.
And Michael Jackson had asked Dick Clark to play this film. And it was essentially a music video for the Jacksons' Can You Feel It? And they played it on American Bandstand. You know, just instead of having a segment for something else, they just played essentially what was a package as a music video. What was that, 79? You know,
78 maybe even.
Sure.
Right?
But at that point, how are they doing that live? That's a projector, like a reel-to-reel projector.
well, from our
That
point of
onto,
view,
but in the studio, for the studio audience, it's like the band's there.
who knows? They rolled out a TV on a cart and said, watch it. I don't know.
You're not going to get a TV that big. You would lucky to get it. You know, it's 19-inch black and white TV in 79.
Now here's the other question. Do you think now this is a long shot, but you think maybe they were lip syncing back then too? A lot of
They
that
were
was-
absolutely lip syncing. If you're talking about
Absolutely.
Bandstand,
Right,
yeah.
if you're going to go on Carol Burnett or Merv Griffin or one of those afternoon shows, you're totally lip syncing your 45.
Oh
and
my
hamming it
gosh.
up to the cameras.
I just thought of another one. Speaking of that, Eric, thank you for that.
Okay, but what is that?
Top of the Pops was like the
Britain.
UK's weekly music show. And if you were on Top of the Pops, you got attention, and you usually sold records and you got on the charts. So the goal was to get on Top of the Pops, then people could see you. And they had what do I want to call it? I guess a way they did things, which was you always lip sync, and they would film like essentially a music video for you.
Yeah.
Right.
And I didn't know that they did it way back then, where you were lip syncing it or miming it or whatever, until I saw the Queen movie, whatever that was called. I don't remember, but the Freddie Mercury film,
The one that came out a few years ago.
yeah, it was like, oh,
Yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Bohemian Rhapsody. There you go.
It was just named after the song. Yeah.
And they were showing the music video for, I believe it was Killer Queen.
Mm-hmm.
And they were showing how they were lip syncing it, kind of hamming it up.
Right.
Those are music videos that BBC was producing for people for free.
Pretty much, yeah. Def Leppard got
You know?
on there. I remember
Yeah.
Sweet, T-Rex, all those bands. All Brit Glam, you know, was kind of, they probably Bowie too, you know.
Well, even
It's
American acts, if they were charting, they were asked to come on Top of the Pops.
Yeah. The
But
key
they,
that I knew it was lip syncing was there was no chords coming out of the instruments or the microphones. It was just a very clean studio looking stage.
I can't remember what it was, because they Top of the Pops did a music video style thing, but then they went to more of a bandstand format where they were kind of doing it live in front of people. And it was John Cougar, and I can't remember the song. It might have been "Ain't Even Done with the Night" or
I
something.
was just gonna say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the band thought it was so stupid they weren't actually performing, that they just grabbed the most ridiculous instruments and danced around with them. You know, like banjos and big tubas and stuff. And
It could have been.
Just
It could
being
have been,
idiots.
I Need a Lover though.
it could have been that.
That
Yeah,
goes back a little further, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
it was something early like that. And I don't remember the song, but I sort of it might have been Small Paradise. I don't know, but they were just
No.
jumping around being stupid to the song. And Dick Clark had to go, wow, interesting instruments you're playing. And they all just started laughing. And then famously, Prince wasn't into it. And he got attitude with Dick Clark because they couldn't really play. They had to lip sync, and he didn't
Well,
like
can you imagine? Like I have a very talented band. It's like, yeah, we're not plugging anything in. You're just singing along to the song you've already recorded. Like,
Well,
why are we here?
I think they did that because Ed Sullivan got burned several times, like with the Doors.
Oh, he had the Jim Morrison incident. Like, we're not going to say we're going to get you high, or can you just change that word? And Jim was
"Oh,
like,
we can't get much better. Can you dig that?"
And they-
yeah, I can dig it till we go live, and I'm going to sing the song the way I wrote it.
I seriously think that's why they did that. They said, we're going to play the song, lip sync to it. I think wanted to clean
Early censorship.
Enter
Right.
7-second delay.
to keep their sponsor very happy.
Yeah, Borax Soap isn't going to want to be on if Jim Morrison says a bad word, you might lose your sponsor back then.
If I go back and I'm thinking about, if I want to watch a performance from the 70s, Midnight Special did some really cool ones. And it's like a music video. It's packaged like a video. So it's like they almost made a free video for you. That's pretty neat.
Yeah. Well, it's not just a single angle looking at the band like you're in the audience. There's camera cutaways and there's some, some clever filming. I mean, and Don Kirshner's rock concert, of course, was doing the same thing. You get those, it was more an embedded in experience. It wasn't just one dimensional, like just watching them on the screen. Like, here's the band playing. No, you got close-ups on the guitar, and another camera would come in. It was like TV production. It was just like a newscast. It was like using some technology.
They got that from Lucille Ball, who owned Desilu Studios, and they were the very first show to do a 3-camera, scene. And they said, hey, we can apply this to the music videos as well. And they did.
I don't know when they switched to the lip sync thing, but they eventually did. They had to because...
They had to, yeah.
80? Because I remember Leaving John's Magic was obviously lip syncing. But then I've seen some really cool performances from the Cars from the first 2 albums, self-titled and Candia, which I think came out in 79. That were not, they were performing live, but they were just absolutely amazing.
Well,
they were a real band.
Right. There's no studio trickery. What you see is what you get. They put it all on stage. It was, it's not like we're going to fix it in post. Like, no, there is no post. This is the post. We post up here.
Who else was doing music video pre-MTV?
Right.
Blondie. I remember Tide is High. That came out pre-MTV, right? It was like 81.
Heart of Glass.
Heart of Glass was before that. Yeah. But that goes back a lot further. Now you're in 79. So there was some market for having video production of your songs, maybe in the discos. Maybe they'd show you on a monitor or on a screen.
Right.
Because it wasn't making it to television. So where was it going? Who was watching
promotional films for something?
Yeah.
Wherever they were using them, who knows? I know there's music. There's a lot of disco videos. I know there's a video for Sylvester's "You Make Me Feel Mighty Real."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's a video of
Donna Summer stuff in 79.
what's his name? What's that? I lost his name in my head.
I Feel Love, I think there's a video for.
Some of the early Donna Summer stuff has videos. Well, some of that's concert footage. The one I'm thinking of is Patrick Hernandez, "Born to Be Alive."
Mm-hmm.
There's a video for that.
I remember a video for that. Yeah.
I actually got a video of Leo Sayer, "You Make Me Feel Like Dancing."
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Wow.
And it's like a studio. It's not live.
Right.
So I don't know who did this for him, but like, when was that song cut? Like 75?
I don't know. If you're going to get on afternoon television,
I had 77.
77,
with like Mike Douglas or something, and you're like, and here's our band today, Kiss, and and they're there, and it's going to get recorded, and multi-cut cameras, and then like maybe later down the road it gets released as a video, even if they're.
I got one of Brick House, the Commodores. A music video with them. I got tons of music videos.
Well, speaking, John was talking about Beatles earlier, and actually he was talking about Elvis, where a lot of that stuff was from his movies.
Mm-hmm.
And Kiss did that too, because they had a terrible movie, didn't they?
Yeah, that was Phantom of the Park. That was awful.
There you go.
I do have Jailhouse
Rock.
My
Kiss fans.
And it was definitely from the movie. I got a video of Jailhouse Rock. Yeah.
There are videos for all the hot Bee Gees songs.
Like there wasn't a performer that could carry a musical, not to use musicals on you, Brian, but like Frankie Avalon and Annette Funicello singing the Beach tunes, right? And that was filmed, and it's like, hey, there's a video for that, right? That's if you were in that kind of movie that was a musical, and people suddenly broke into song about silly things, you can use that as a video. That's
There's a song I can't unhear that I wish I could.
Oh.
It's a very early David Bowie song. It's called "The Laughing Gnome." And there's a legit music video for "The Laughing Gnome." And this is like 67, maybe? I mean, maybe even earlier than that.
Well, then it was a film, not a video. Then,
well, now you're in the Beatles pocket where they're shooting music movies.
Well, there was no this song.
Monkeys. Yeah.
The song was not a hit, so it wasn't from any film.
I can't tell you the last time I played Laughing Gnome. So thank you for bringing that back.
But there's a video.
I've been in therapy trying to get that one.
Yeah, they made it like but we did art film stuff. I mean, so he was a mime. He did all kinds of weird stuff. And there's a lot of footage of that stuff. But there's a legit, like what we would consider today a music video for Laughing Gnome. So they were producing that stuff. People were doing it for what reason, we'll never know. Because there was no platform to showcase it at the time.
What's the end game? Like, I want to end up in the Smithsonian as this documented archive of a music performance. Probably not with Laughing Gnome, you won't. But
how interesting would it be?
Magical Mystery Tour got in there, and some other Beatles stuff.
How interesting? Go ahead, Howie.
MTV it didn't just come on overnight. I mean, it was years, and I'm sure that trickled down to other people, and they said we better have a video ready to put out.
Mm-hmm.
It's the interesting thing. You guys ever hear of X-Mix? I'm sure you have, right?
Sure.
X-Mix.
They would give me. I used to buy like their music videos because they were great. They give you a mix in, a mix out, and they gave you a whole bunch of oldies like that they remastered somehow. Like one in particular that I use is "My Girl, The Temptations."
Mm.
Some of their videos are just phenomenal. And
those are
right with a new sound and
they're redrummed and
made after the fact.
And cleaned up and put on time.
I'm thinking about
quantized. Yeah,
I'm thinking about Elton John and Kiki D. There is a music video for "Don't Go Breaking My Heart."
Yes, there is.
There is.
There's a music video for your song. He's walking around a field. And it's in black and white, but it's a music video. There's no other reason they shot that. It was not a live performance of any kind.
There has to be music videos of Grease, right?
Well, the movie was made. Of course there was.
Yeah,
I'm talking about just
exists.
You're a band in the 70s, and there's no platform for you to showcase this film you're going to pay money for and shoot and edit, but you make it anyway. That's crazy that they did that. And there are some people who did it, and we have the videos for this stuff.
Yes.
The Stones did it. I saw a documentary on the Stones one time, and there was this really cool video shot back then of Jumping Jack Flash. I can't find it anywhere. It's cool. The way they did it was neat, and it just doesn't exist. There are other videos of it, versions.
Find it, it would cost you dearly. My pick for the record roundup with Johnny Thunders and the Pretenders, I did find cassettes for that, but they were starting at $41 and up.
Were they the Heartbreakers or the Pretenders?
No. That would be the Heartbreakers. Yeah.
Okay.
Not the Heartbreakers that we would think about.
You had said Heartbreakers earlier, then you said Pretenders.
Yeah,
so that's why I wanted to clarify. No, it's okay. I just wanted to make sure that.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
No, don't be sorry. I just was clarifying.
It's but yeah, but don't you think that they had enough money and they could make these things and then store them for future revenue, which, inevitably they did get, through MTV and further sales.
Do you think that they were actually sitting around thinking, someday we're going to make some money off of this?
I had no idea. They couldn't have had any idea.
They couldn't have known.
I don't believe that because
I do.
We're going to end up on a compilation concert at 1 a.m. that no one's going to watch unless
I believe most of these music videos were promotional things to send out. They were almost like press packs.
To who though?
Well, let's say that you're a British recording artist and you want to really turn on the U.S. distributors, so you send them a press pack of your stuff. I think that's why they made this stuff.
I can understand that point, but when you see it on MTV, it's kind of like, yeah, they were thinking forward, because when MTV was trying to get off the ground, that probably took years to get, because you can't just say, I'm going to start a show, but you need content. So they're, buzzing around between different record companies and producers.
Sure. The licensing alone, yeah. Imagine.
A little different back then.
It would allow us to do, it had to be years in the making. And they just said, let's make these things and hopefully they get played. And if they get played in rotation, we're going to make some money.
They didn't get played in rotation, though. I mean, really, on MTV. I mean, Elton John and Kiki D's "Don't Go Breaking My Heart" didn't get played on rotation on MTV.
No, that's more like a VH1
MTV was supposed to be contemporary. Yeah, maybe, but it was. They were just scrambling to grab what they could.
Yeah, they were. There wasn't any out there at the time, and I know this. The only reason I remember it is because I was in the hospital. At the time that MTV came out, and I was in there for a week for the ammonia inhalation at work, and you would go like 2 hours, and then they would start all of a sudden, oh, here come the Buggles again. They have that much content.
Yeah. They were only on for part of the day too. They weren't 24 hours yet, I don't believe.
Right.
Not initially. But I mean, you can remember, like, I mean, for anyone that's old enough to recollect when MTV started up, it would always be Every Breath You Take and the black and white Sting, shadow change in Police video.
Well, yeah, they were off the ground by that point.
Madonna, you'd see
Cyndi Lauper,
and Michael Jackson, maybe. That's Cyndi Lauper was on a lot. Yeah.
Yeah,
not Lauper.
Back
in the 80s, though, I do believe the managers who kind of forced you to do a music video, like you had to do it back then.
At a point, you did.
Oh, at a point, bands, they must have been kicking and screaming.
After MTV, you did, but before that,
no. Before
there weren't very many places to even see this stuff. Like I said, Video Jukebox predates MTV.
How about we talk about the present? The present is you got a number one song, you have a video for it, and you're going to watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, that's the only place you can watch it now anyway.
Right. There's so many new bands, though, I don't even know what they look like because I just hear their music, bands or artists, because it's like now it's like you're having to seek it out. It's on demand, but you have to seek it out. It's not a method of discovery as much as it once was.
You don't have the tastemakers like you used to. Tell you what was, and I like that. I like somebody to field all this crap, like Nick Hahn at Promo Only, and then
think of him like a programming director. I mean, that's just giving you the best of what you need and eliminate all the BS that we don't have time for. It's
that's kind of what we're supposed to do at some capacity. Not at wedding receptions, but yeah.
You could do it at the club like you did.
I do it at the club. I grab stuff that I think is cool and I play it.
Deep dive. There you go. Something that never heard.
We talked about lip syncing in music videos, which that happens all the time, obviously. That's how they do them. What gets me going is when they lip sync at concerts. And that happens a lot, because... Yeah. Like Janet Jackson, just for one. I love her. I think she's great. But she will lip sync a lot at concerts and I understand why, because she's dancing and that takes a lot of breath.
Yeah, it takes a lot of air out of you, for sure. Yeah.
But
it's interesting you bring that up because when you think about it, You know, what's the most important thing about Janet Jackson? Why is she popular? Let's pretend her brother is not Michael Jackson for a minute.
Well,
It's her voice. It's her song. That's the performance you paid to go see. Yet she's faking that performance to give you a performance you necessarily weren't that concerned with, which is the dancing performance. And that's weird.
yeah.
Well, she prioritizes the dancing, because if I'm dancing like they want to see me, I can't sing like I did 30 years ago. Like, well, that's understandable, right?
It's almost like vaudeville. The dancing was more important than getting the words out.
Right.
Yeah.
See, my ex-wife dragged me to a Janet concert, and when we got there, like I was saying, no, bring your girlfriend. I'd go, but she ended up dragging me there. And did I regret it? No, it was great to see Janet on stage doing her thing. But like a lot of the times, I'll say to my ex-wife, she's lip syncing. That's not, it's not live. It's not what we're,
Right.
And it was
she takes the whole thing as a complete performance. I would be okay with her sitting in a chair singing Pleasure Principle from beginning to end, but I mean the album. But that's the whole theatric thing. It's like our stage has to be this, and we need sparks and lights, and it's an embellishment to the music, but the music comes first. It's it becomes
like Howie was saying before, and it's a really good observation. It becomes like an old vaudeville. It's like very theatrical. It's not about the singing anymore.
It's a presentation of the song
it's about this play or this thing.
That's what it is. It's like a play. Yes. Good point, Howie. It is. It's like a little mini movie for that song, basically.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's
a Broadway performance of.
Yeah.
A similar rendering of how it sounded when we did it.
But they're making
years ago.
millions and millions on these concerts. But you know what? They're still selling out, so they can't be doing something wrong,
I mean, I'm thinking about, now you got me thinking about real theatrical performances. And I'm thinking about like early Genesis with Peter Gabriel dressing up all goofy.
Yeah.
But I don't think they were necessarily jumping around like animals, nor was Bowie.
No.
But yeah.
You had Robert Fripp there, who was just a genius, musician. I mean, wow. What a group that was. And I was so fortunate to see them. I saw them live, and I was like, how's this guy doing this with 10 fingers? It's like you need two people on that guitar to make that sound, but it was genuine. There was no tape.
Yeah. I've seen the Rolling Stones in concert many times. Never once have they lip synced.
Oh no.
Always live. And Mick Jagger's up there in his jogging pants like he always is. Running around and still singing like he was funny.
Yeah. Who I was just thinking, who else does a theatrical performance and is still performing is what I was trying to get at with my thing here. And the first contemporary artist I can think of who did it was probably Madonna. Like her stuff got big on the theatrics, but she still sang.
Right.
Yes.
He was always live.
I have one for you. Believe it or not, and I watched the movie, is Pink.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she goes hard. She does.
She's got a vocal coach and put the harness on, and they turned her upside down, and the vocal coach trained her to use her diaphragm to be able to sing upside down. So when she goes out among the crowd upside down and spinning, that's real. She's really singing, and I was impressed. I was impressed with her as a human being because, she brought her kids with her. She brings her kids with her on tour all the time, and she always does a stellar job. And now that she's 38 or early 40s, she's looking for a Las Vegas residency where they can do rigging and have it all computerized for her.
Okay.
That she would know, instead of Newtown, okay, we've got to, dial all this in.
We got to build this here instead of it's here. and let's let the crowd rotate, not the venue. So I'm not going to get killed getting spun around like a pinball up here in the air. But yeah, props to Pink. She does it right.
Yeah, she does not use a backing track or lip sync at all, even when she's upside down. Yeah. I give her a lot of credit. She's a tough broad,
Well, John, I wish you luck titling this, giving the show a name.
Can I end it with one real quick thing before you do?
Sure.
We're talking about we dislike when they lip sync in concerts, right? But on the other hand, as much as I love this guy, I think he should lip sync Lionel Richie.
You know what? I'm with you. He sounds like a Muppet.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, but I love the guy. Many, many hits, great history.
History with the Commodores, of course.
Yeah.
He could sing.
When he goes out and he goes live, he's not the same. So
I think the problem with Lionel is he's had so much plastic surgery and he's got such a good wig that we think it's still the guy who's doing Hello, but it's actually this old man who's
right. His face is pulled back like a rubber band, so you're going to get different notes out of
him. And the voice doesn't match the look. We'd probably forgive it more if he looked like the 80-year-old man he is.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Or 70 or whatever he is. Yeah, but
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a Vegas residency with that crap.
Still trying out there and whatever. But he's a legend. He's a legend, but
oh my God.
Yeah.
And he's got like a high-pitched voice like your mom when she screams at you now. It's not like he's the voice of a man anymore.
He's not lip syncing. He should if he's.
We got modular software. We can fix him live.
You cannot help
tune him down.
Anyway, go ahead, Brian.
Elasticize him slightly. Yeah.
Go ahead, Brian. Put a fork in it.
Howie had a thought.
I need a cigarette.
I could hear the disappointment in his voice, but he got stepped on. Go ahead.
No, I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nope.
Then I imagined it.
I'm sorry.
It's a tick. It's a tick. PTSD. Cool. All right. Well, we're done, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.